I am at the forward command post of the 121st Motorized Rifle Regiment, 68th Motorized Rifle Division West Group. Units of the West Group maintain reliable control over all areas of the liberated city of Kupyansk. Attempts by Ukrainian assault pairs to infiltrate from the southwest through the city cemetery into the outskirts of the Yubileyny district are being repelled. The enemy suffers heavy casualties daily during their attacks. Currently this evening, December 15th, 3 small Ukrainian armed forces groups numbering 2 to 6 servicemen are blocked on the outskirts of the Yubileyny district. Their elimination is underway.
Last week, I visited one of our cities on the front line. Yes, our city of Kupiansk. And it's a city in the eastern Ukraine, and the front line is now very, really close to it. And Putin publicly lied, claiming that Russian forces had already taken the city. So I went to Kupiansk myself to show the world Putin is lying.
Russia is once again claiming a decisive victory on the battlefield in northeastern Ukraine, announcing full control of Kupyansk, a strategic city that has become a symbol of the war's shifting front lines. According to Russia's defense ministry, the city is now entirely under the control of the 6th Russian Army. Leonid Sharov, a spokesperson for Russia's Zapad military group, told state media that Russian forces have secured every neighborhood, despite what he described as daily attempts by Ukrainian troops to break through. But Moscow's announcement directly contradicts recent statements from Kyiv. Speaking at the Dutch parliament on Tuesday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky claimed Russia's claims of capturing Kupiansk were completely false. He also accused Russian President Vladimir Putin of publicly lying while making the same claim last month. Just days earlier, Ukrainian officials said their forces had recaptured several neighborhoods in Kupiansk following what they described as a breakthrough in the area. Zelensky reinforced that message on Friday, releasing video footage showing him visiting frontline units near the city, less than 2 kilometers from Russian positions. In the footage, Zelensky stands in front of a bullet-riddled sign bearing Kupiansk's name, declaring, "The Russians kept going on about Kupiansk. The reality speaks for itself." He emphasized that progress on the battlefield is essential for Ukraine's success at the negotiating table, as diplomatic talks with the United States and European partners continue. The timing of the competing claims is critical. Zelensky's visit came amid growing international discussions about ending the war, including European proposals to deploy a multinational peacekeeping force to guarantee any future ceasefire. Ukrainian officials argue battlefield momentum strengthens Kyiv's diplomatic position. Russia, however, insists the opposite. Sharov on Monday claimed Ukrainian forces are suffering heavy losses and said Russian drones and artillery struck a group of Colombian mercenaries fighting alongside Ukraine. Moscow has repeatedly framed foreign fighters as evidence of NATO's indirect involvement in the conflict. Notably, in November, Russian President Vladimir Putin had claimed Ukrainian battalions were blocked and surrounded in Kupiansk area, inviting journalists to come and see what he called a decisive Russian advance. Ukraine swiftly denied this claim.
Dear comrades, good afternoon. We held a similar meeting on October 25th, and at that time it included the chief of the General Staff, the Chief of the Main Operations Directorate, and the commanders of 2 groupings, the West grouping and the Center grouping. And at the time, both the commander and the Chief of the General Staff were providing reports on the situation that had developed at that particular point in time in Krasnoarmeysk and in Kupiansk, where you managed to block major enemy troop formations. Today, our conference is also attended by the Chief of the General Staff, the Head of the Main Directorate, the Commander and the entire operational command staff of the West Group, as well as the Commander of the South Group. The former commander of the South Group has been appointed to a new position as Deputy Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation. I am confident that in his new role, he will fully utilize all his extensive knowledge and the invaluable experience of a combat commander. This is very much in demand today. I'd like to hear from the Chief of General Staff on the situation in the Center Group's zone of responsibility. I didn't invite the commander today. He must resolve the tasks before him. As a matter of fact, we are both well aware of what is happening. However, I would ask you to report on the situation as it stands at this very moment, and then I would like to hear from the new commander of the South Grouping. This is not a new assignment for you to undertake. What I mean is you previously served as the Chief of Staff for this very same group. In this sense, our continuity is complete, absolutely 100%. Who besides you knows the situation better in this particular area? As the saying goes, both literally and figuratively, the cards are in your hands. And I would ask you, when you report, it is necessary to focus your attention on the situation in Konstantinovka. As far as I know, fighting is already taking place within this settlement. And also, generally, the situation in the Kramatorsk, Dashkovsk direction, and generally in this area, and of course around Seversk. I would then like to request that the commander of the West Grouping be invited to speak and present a detailed report concerning the situation in Kupiansk and additionally on the left bank of the Oskol River. I am referring to Kupiansk, the railway hub, and the adjacent territory where, as far as I am aware, you also managed to successfully block a rather significant enemy grouping, numbering, well, quite recently there were 18, but now the Chief of the General Staff reports approximately 15 battalions. How do you plan your subsequent work in this particular area and more broadly overall? This falls within your area of responsibility. I mean, over on the left bank we have the 6th Army and also the 1st Tank Army. Could you please elaborate on this?
And Valery Borisovich, I would also ask you to report on whether it has been possible to create the necessary conditions, as I had previously requested, for the servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine to be afforded the opportunity to lay down their weapons and surrender into captivity. I am referring to the predicament in which he currently finds himself.
Comrade Supreme Commander, these conditions have been established, and taking into account their utterly hopeless situation, it is understandable that many of our servicemen are making the decision to surrender, but most of them, under the threat of being executed by a firing squad or being eliminated by their own drones, pose meaning they simply cannot fulfill this objective. Meanwhile, the political leadership of Ukraine is not giving any instructions to its troops on this matter.
It's clear now, but frankly speaking, what the political leadership of Ukraine truly is, we already fully understand. It is no longer any kind of political leadership whatsoever. This has been the case since March of last year. A group of individuals is a criminal organization, an organized criminal community, which since March of last year usurped power and under the pretext of the need to continue the war with Russia, maintains this power in Ukraine for the purpose of personal enrichment. These facts are now well known. from anti-corruption investigations in Ukraine itself. And I think it's clear to everyone that these people sitting on golden pots are hardly thinking about the fate of their country, about the fate.
The ordinary citizens of Ukraine, of the officer ranks, and certainly not the ordinary soldiers.
They have other priorities, but we have our own tasks, our own goals. The main one, undoubtedly, is the achievement of the objectives of the special military operation and the resolution of the challenges that our fatherland and the people of Russia place before us.
The people of Russia are counting on us, they are counting on you, and they expect our country to achieve the results it truly needs. Let us begin.
Kupiansk, once home to more than 26,000 residents, is a vital railway junction in the Kharkiv region, making it a logistical prize for both sides. Ukraine's National Guard now says it has carried out successful counterattacks north of the city, encircling Russian units in nearby areas. Open-source intelligence mapping suggests several villages and northern districts of Kupiansk remain under Ukrainian control. Geolocation analysis of Zelensky's Friday video also placed him within drone, mortar, and artillery range, underscoring the symbolic risk of his visit. As both sides project confidence, Kupiansk remains a battlefield not just of weapons, but of narratives.